Founded in 1729, Arlington Street continues today as a gathering place for progressive people of faith in the greater Boston area and beyond. We are located at the corner of Arlington and Boylston Streets, across from the Public Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. Arlington Street Church, gathered in love and service for justice and peace.
Our reading this morning is a poem called Red by Cheryl Savageau. In his new poem, the red autumn woods are a metaphor for leftist martyrs. We're traveling east through a maple forest that blazes the hillsides on both sides of this winding backcountry road. Look at the trees, I want to tell him. Listen. The trees have their own stories to tell, like the story of fire deep in the heart. They too have been martyrs in the long war against the land, a nation cut down, children denied. 100 years ago, these hills were bare of trees, the stone walls that wind through them, the illusion of ownership. Now the hills are red with maples. My heart is leaping out to meet them. My eyes cannot be full enough. Though acid falls from the clouds, maples have gathered on the hillsides in every direction. See how they celebrate. They are wearing their brightest dresses. Come, sisters, let me dance with you. I offer you a song. Let me paint it red with passion. You are all the women I have ever loved. Here ends the reading. As the maples here in Massachusetts let go of their glorious dresses and we prepare to give thanks for the bounty of the earth and honor the indigenous wisdom and lives and ways that have too long been ignored, it's fitting that this Sunday's Music Sunday invites us to find communion among the trees, to be at one with the wild, to give thanks for the fact that we humans are not all there is, and to listen to other parts of creation so that we can get over ourselves for a moment, put things in perspective. The Arbor Day Foundation, protecting trees for a very long time now, reminds us that humans have recognized a special connection with trees since the dawn of history. Every major religion includes trees in its earliest stories. The Egyptians had their sacred groves, and the Bible mentions trees no less than 120 times. The Celts saw magical powers in trees that varied by species. Philosophers like Rousseau and Thoreau proclaimed moral value or goodness that comes from associating with trees and the outdoors in general. As we started to establish parks in American cities in the 19th century, efforts began at the same time to define just what these intrinsic values in trees might be. Pioneering landscape architect Frederick Law Olmsted believed that they improved the mental health of urbanites as more and more people left the healthful countryside for the cities. But he also thought that the whole topic of the benefit of trees to humans was too complex, subtle, and spiritual to be checked off item by item like a jeweler's or florist's wares, he wrote. It defied research and understanding. Now, since Olmsted's time, hundreds of scientists have undertaken the research to work on pinpointing exactly what he said was impossible to understand. What is it that makes exposure to nature, and more specifically to trees, so healthful for us humans? In 1928, Russian biologist Dr. Boris Tonkin discovered that plants, especially trees, offer each other signals to warn and protect each other. As Robin Wall Kimmerer, a scientist and member of the citizen Potawatomi Nation, describes it, these are specific compounds that one tree will release when it's under stress of an insect attack gypsy moths gorging on its leaves or bark beetles under its skin. The tree sends out a distress call. Hey, you guys over there, I'm under attack here. You might want to get up to raise the drawbridge and arm yourselves for what's coming your way. The downwind trees catch the drift, the whiff of danger. This gives them time to manufacture defensive chemicals. The trees warn each other. The invaders are repelled. Trees seem to be working together to protect their community. Researchers around the world in the 1980s and 90s then examined the effects of these phytoncides on the humans who spent time among trees. And they discovered that humans also absorb those same compounds that the trees send out as their distress signals. Those warning signals that help you know how to protect yourself. And our own systems respond like those other trees do. We create something more of what's called natural killer cells. Doesn't that sound ominous? Those boost our immune systems, reduce our stress hormones, lower our blood glucose levels. Robin Wall Kimmerer writes, "One thing I've learned in the woods is that there is no such thing as random. Everything is steeped in meaning, colored by relationships, one thing with another." Knowing all that we know about the woods and living all that we're living now in terms of stress and threat and just ambient yikes, we really should all be spending every second we can among those trees, shouldn't we? And you could say, as you know I'm going here, there are some parallels between getting into the woods and coming to and committing to a church community. It may take us years to work up the courage, work through past experiences or anxious imaginations, and walk through that door. And when we do, it takes some time to figure out, is this place for me? How will I know if I belong? We've all taken the risk of showing up with all our yearnings and all our gifts, our hang-ups and our hopes, to get out of our weekly lives and connect with something enduring, something that helps us see our place in the world in a new light, puts a little fresh oxygen in our lungs to nourish our bodies, getting an experience of connection to feed our souls. Now, trees are naturally in one fixed place, aware of where their kin are and where they belong, but we humans can float around for an awfully long time before we find our people. So when we do, it's powerful. Church leadership consultant Thomas Bandy proclaims that the work of the church is to ignite the passions, to enliven the song in the hearts of all who come, and then to help us discover our gifts and equip us to put them to use in the world. Isn't that beautiful? It makes me imagine all of us walking tall like the trees of the forest, aware of our beauty and our gifts, aware of our own power, and then being sent into the world to quench the thirst we have, to join our greatest passions to the world's greatest needs. What would that mean for how we think about the role of our church? Here, like in the woods, there is a sacred spark, a holy presence, the essence of life itself that speaks in and through each of us. We hear it best when we are together, beholding, finding meaning in the mystery. And we find that meaning when we are closest together, taking risks with our hearts, daring to trust each other's wisdom and witness each other's struggles. It takes a kind of courage to listen to that inner voice. Not the courage, of course, of armor or weapons, but the courage of healing from heartbreak and daring to love, of finding ourselves disappointed and sometimes even disappointing, and to come back to center our love again and again. If we're going to make it to the beautiful vista on that wooded hike, the place where we might feel most alive and free to use all of who we are in service to something greater, We need people around us to help us hear that call and find our way. At the risk of taking a U-turn in metaphors, I don't know how many of you have ever been on a big ship. I never thought I would be someone who would go on a commercial cruise. But about 15 years ago, my father, not at all wealthy, actually known very widely for his frugality, and not one for gift-giving, decided he wanted to take our whole family on a week-long cruise of the fjords of Norway. When this was announced, the whole family was puzzled. Why Norway? Why a cruise? My husband Enrique and I thought about a dozen other ways we might prefer to travel. And then, as one does when offered a free vacation, we got over ourselves and packed our bags. We boarded the ship, fascinated by the sophisticated process of getting so many people and luggage on board and in the right place with minimal chaos. And soon after we made it through the casino-quality lights in the center of the common area of the ship and to our cabin, we were called to find our muster station. Mustard station? Our 8-year-old son Kian asked, maybe imagining that there was a hot dog at this place. No, muster. Now, not being versed in naval or sailing terminology or history, this was new to us. The place on the ship where you gather in an emergency is the muster station. Now, muster simply means gathering. But there's something about that term for this purpose that's compelling to me. In the Navy, a muster station is where a small group of people meet, each with a particular challenge or a particular skill. They have to work together to guide the ship through a storm or respond to any other kind of emergency or just get the next job done that needs to be done. It's a given that none of their skills is quite enough alone. They have to gather together and gather their gifts together to guide that ship to safety. And I have, since having that first experience of a muster station, thought about congregational life as our own muster station, a place where we gather courage in troubled times, a place from which to coordinate our response when the seas are rough, a place to pool our resources, to get instructions when we need them, to make our own little forested planet of care and growth hospitable so that we can heal our communities, our nation, our planet. Sunday worship, this time we spend together each week, is one of the ways we muster. And staying on this ship across the wide open sea and holding on through the winding, stomach-turning waves takes a little bit of courage. It takes knowing we're part of an ecosystem that will care for us, will send us waves of healing and hope when we're in trouble, will warn us of the dangers and have our backs as we fight all of the dis-ease we're living now. A muster station is where you make plans for navigating the waters or the woods with the particular gifts and struggles you've got. So this morning, as we celebrate the joy of music to carry us to places we might not be able to go in body, as we welcome our newest members, let's remind each other of the power of this muster station, this grove of beautiful trees we have, offering each other shelter, hope, and healing, discovering the passions that we bring for each of our songs that are meant to be a blessing to the world. Amen. In the words of Robin Wall Kimmerer, the breath of plants gives life to animals, and the breath of animals gives life to plants. My breath is your breath is mine. The very facts of the world are a poem, or today, perhaps a great song. Love is the spirit of this congregation. Carry it in your heart, on your lips, and in your song until we meet again. The service begins when the service ends. Amen.
We are located at the corner of Arlington and Boylston Streets, across from the Public Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. Arlington Street Church, gathered in love and service for justice and peace.